Michelle.
Welcome to Mallett and Michelle. Happy 250th birthday, America. And if you Yankee Doodle coming to town, wait, I just messed that up. If you Yankee Doodle into town riding on a pony, first you will find me, Miss Doodle, Michelle, and Steve, Mr. Dandy. Proud to live in the greatest country in the world. There you go.
Happy birthday, America.
Happy birthday.
I'm trying to learn the sound pads. That's my new intro.
Do it again. Okay, well,
It
you're
doesn't
doing
want to
some-
do it.
Make my day.
That's my new
Well,
thing. Go
you know,
ahead, Michelle. Make my
absolutely,
day.
absolutely.
Do I sound like Clint Eastwood?
You look exactly like Clint Eastwood.
The modern Clint Eastwood or
Yeah.
Dirty Harry?
You know what? Okay, per friends' suggestions, Rini and Sylvia, they said that we needed to watch this show, an old Clint Eastwood show called Mary I don't know what it's called. It's like his first dictatorial.
No, Hang 'em High.
No, something about
The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. No, I don't want to watch any of those touchy-feely Clint Eastwood movies.
No, Clint Eastwood first
No.
director movie. It was something. I don't know what it was called.
Unforgiven is
No.
freaking awesome. That's one of the
No,
best
it was
movies
something
of
about
all time.
like it had Mary. He was a DJ and she was like crazy, and I don't know.
I remember that one.
It was
That one's not my
1970.
favorite.
I don't know.
Yes.
It was awful.
Look at the movies that guy has. Boy, we went off on a
Play
tangent
Misty
here.
for me. That's it.
Play Misty for
Play
me.
Misty for
Terrible.
me.
How about the one where he has the orangutan? What was that one called? Every Which Way But Loose.
Oh, yeah, and
terrible,
Sully.
terrible movie.
So,
Hang 'em High though. In the Line of Fire. Magnum Force.
Okay, you need to go on a Clint Eastwood. So now we just
I would
went
love
off.
to have
We
that.
went off the rails, 100%
Jeez,
off
2
the
minutes in and we haven't done anything. We got to thank the sponsors for that
Absolutely.
movie trivia right there. Cry Macho, In the Line of Fire, Clint Eastwood. Thank
Well,
you very
while you're
much.
watching a Clint Eastwood movie, why don't you grab a Deep Eddy vodka?
That's right, because when crazy summer just never seems to end, grab a Deep Eddy vodka and let the flavor take you away.
And then once you you've finished drinking your vodka, take all your money and deposit it into South Star Bank.
South Star Bank. Banking ain't boring when you work with the best in the business. Stop by South Star Bank today to see why their bankers shine.
And then once you leave the bank and you have a bunch of money, go remodel your kitchen and
Awesome. That's really good. I
Oh,
like that.
look
Yeah.
at that.
When your roof springs a leak or your whole house needs a facelift, give Black Slate a call and get them over to your place pronto. You won't be disappointed.
absolutely. And then when you do all of that and you get your house all updated, why don't you call Mallett
And you want to
Integrity
sell it.
Team?
You're like, we
That's
need
right.
a bigger place. Mallett Integrity Team, we've sold more houses than all the other self-proclaimed top dripping realtors combined. Call us today to find out what makes us different. Isn't that funny, though, how that works? It's like every realtor out there says, I'm the best realtor in dripping. I'm the best realtor in Austin. We can't all be the best.
I'm number one. You're number two. We're gonna beat the
No number
whoopee
twos,
out of you.
Michelle. No number twos.
No number twos.
Our guest today
Oh,
is Becca
bless.
Kyle. And
Yes.
here we go, of Holistic Obsession. She's here to talk about perimenopause, hormones, burnout, medical gaslighting, and why women aren't crazy. They're too often dismissed instead of diagnosed. Becca is a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner, board certified holistic health practitioner, speaker, author, wife, boy mom, sunlight addict, and chainsaw enthusiast.
I want to hear about that part.
Yeah. In other words, she's part science nerd, part wellness guide, and 100% someone you don't want to underestimate. Welcome to the show, Becca.
Hello.
Thank you, thank you.
I'm so glad that you're here. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, and I'm the man in the room, so I want to find out about this perimenopause thing. But tell us what your business is, Holistic Obsession. Tell us what that's all about.
Yeah, so I work 100% virtually with clients across the country, focused mostly on midlife women, and I'm not interested in the fact that you have symptoms because the symptoms aren't the problem, they're the results of the problem. So I get real curious when someone comes to me with fatigue or anxiety or bloating or reflux. And I'm like, okay, well, what's actually driving that problem? In traditional medicine, you go to the doctor, oh, you have reflux, here's your medication, and that's where it stops. So the underlying root cause is still going to be simmering, causing problems continuously. Oh, you know, is it toxins? Is it pathogens? Is it nutrient deficiencies? Is it mineral imbalance? Is it out of whack stress hormones, what's going on to drive the symptoms. And I use functional lab work to figure that out. So we're looking at gut function, we're looking at the nutrients and minerals, we're looking at hormones, we're looking at all the things. And when I have that really super fun, nerdy data, I can take that information and build a health rebuilding roadmap for you to follow. So that every step you take is based on, strategic information about your body. And my goal is not to address a symptom on an island by itself. It's really to raise up function in every cell, tissue, and organ in the body, because everything in the body is connected. And I wholeheartedly believe that your biography becomes your biology. And that means everything you've experienced.
Write that down.
Whether
That's a
it
good one.
was, 3-year-old, your parents got divorced, or at 13, you got assaulted, or at 22, you lost your job, or whatever it was. Everything you experience, your body holds on to if you don't process it and release it. And so a lot of times what's keeping women stuck, anyone stuck, but especially midlife women, because you've just been through all the things. And usually in midlife, you're parenting teenagers, parenting your parents, you've gotten where you want to go in your career, and there's a lot going on. And women feel like they don't have time to address these things. But you have to address the human being, body, mind, and spirit. And that's what I do.
So do you think that there's a coming together of Eastern and Western medicine where both can work in concert with each other?
Absolutely. I mean, I don't, staying in my lane, I don't diagnose or treat medical conditions. I am not a medical doctor, nor do I want to be. There's plenty of those guys out there, those gals out there. I'm interested in coaching up function in the body and removing the biochemical stressors. I put stress into 3 buckets. Emotional stressors, that's what most people are like, I'm so stressed, right? Then there's physical stressors. When I ripped 2 ligaments off the shoulder joint, that was a physical stressor. Maybe you just sit too much, for example. And
Steve, for instance, is a
Yeah.
physical
Sit too much.
stressor?
Yeah.
Oh, I am a physical
He
stressor.
is, right.
there.
Stressor,
And
but
an
I don't sit
emotional
too much.
stressor, actually, I think. And then my specialty is the biochemical stressors, toxins, pathogens, nutrient deficiencies. But I love acupuncture. I love herbs. I love, the alternative Chinese medical world. I have a wonderful acupuncturist. I think chiropractic's great. I think so many modalities are amazing, and when you bring them together, I work with entire care teams sometimes. And so I fully believe that that is what's best for each person, is when people come together to work for the benefit of that person.
Why do you think modern medicine doesn't look for the causes? We've talked about that a lot on the podcast. You go into the doctor and they're not, and it's pretty common, like almost all doctors do. They don't look for the reason why you have that symptom. They go, this pill will fix that.
Because that's what they're trained to do. They're trained to diagnose you with a condition and then treat that condition. How do they treat that condition? With medicine or surgery. A lot of traditional medical schools, you get an hour or 2 or 3 of nutritional training, right? So often my clients, they're like, well, I went to the doctor, they said it was just anxiety, or that I needed to lose weight, or just eat right and exercise. I literally had a client one time who was on the floor not functioning. Her anxiety and fatigue and brain fog were so bad. She was a mom of multiple kids. She was a business owner, and she's like, Becca, I went to my doctor to ask for help, and all he said was, just get your husband to help with the dishes a little bit more. And I asked her, I said, did you punch him in the face? Because,
I know, was your visit in prison?
Yes. And so this is what women are getting, but men too. It's not just about women. I think, women tend to get the anxiety diagnosis for just about everything. Or it's really either lose weight or it's just anxiety. But doctors are trained to save your life. I've had my life saved by a doctor. I had a life-threatening condition in pregnancy. I had my doctor reattach ligaments to my shoulder joint, right? I am a fan of traditional modern medicine. I think it's miraculous what they can do, and they're necessary and they're needed. And I have my own hormone prescriber, is amazing and really looks at the whole human as well. But I think that in general, in traditional medicine, it's just not how they're trained. I get clients that say, hey, can I take these labs, these functional labs, and show them to my doctor? I'm like, absolutely, it's your lab work. You show whoever you want. But I said, expect that they won't understand them, or they won't believe in them. I mean, I've had clients say, my gastroenterologist doesn't believe in leaky gut or gut health. I'm like, what did you just say?
Yeah.
Or my endocrinologist, someone who has Hashimoto's, says, my diet doesn't matter. And it's not true. Inflammatory foods, if you have an autoimmune condition, it's like throwing gasoline on an out-of-control fire in your body. Or a client that's 40 years old is being told, you're too young to be in menopause or perimenopause.
Yeah.
We're not going to test your hormones. I had an 18-year-old girl a number of years ago, local girl, sweet, amazing girl. She's like, Becca, I know my hormones are off, but no one will test me. No one believes me. And my first thought is always, I believe you, because I want every single person I come across to feel safe, seen, heard, and valued. And I said, I believe you. Let's test. Her progesterone was in menopausal range.
Oh, wow.
She was right.
For 18 years old.
She knew something was wrong, and she could not even get a test done because they gaslit her. You're too young. No, we don't do. It makes me bonkers.
What was the fix for that? Did she go on hormones?
So it's not necessarily you think HRT, right, for when your hormones get depleted. At 18 or 25 or even 32, if your hormones are depleted, just non-existent for some of them, it's not that your body can't make them. It's that it's prioritizing other things. So, our stress response system, back in the day, we had to outrun the tiger, but now we're outrunning paper tigers. So that could be a high stress job. That could be college. That could be high school, because man, being a teenager these days is difficult. That could be the biochemical stressors. Maybe you are exposed to toxic mold or heavy metals or whatever it may be. And so I see toxins specifically really wreck hormones. And so what happens is the body is under this high level of stress. Well, under stress, the body will say, one, it's not a safe time to make a baby, because there's a famine, you have to outrun the tiger. The body is designed to survive. And reproduction is back burner when you are in survival mode. So it will throw off, your hormones will just get thrown off. And then the body prioritizes cortisol production, which is your stress hormone, over progesterone. And then, so cortisol is made in your adrenal glands. You've probably heard of like adrenal burnout or adrenal fatigue or adrenals, this, that, and the other.
What is that? Is that your computer?
That's your computer.
Is it? What? I don't have anything on. I'm sorry, Becca. Go ahead.
You've got some tab open.
I'm turning everything off. Go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's all good. And so DHEA is also made in the adrenals, and it's the counterbalance to cortisol. So DHEA, you can take it as a supplement. You can take cortisol.
We gotta stop. What is that noise?
What is going on?
Someone really wants to get
not-
on. It sounds like a Facebook message.
It does.
No.
Sounds like Facebook message.
Is Facebook open on here?
No,
You
No.
sure?
Double
You
check.
got other.
not open. If I close that, no, nothing's open.
That's how my computer sounds when I get a Facebook
Are
message.
you getting messages on that? It sounds like it's something. I don't have anything open.
Everything is turned off. Everything is off.
Is it? Then nothing's popping up on this phone.
Nothing's popping up on that phone.
And it's not the. Is it the iPad?
It's not the iPad. If I turn the iPad off, then all the
This is funny.
just
What?
don't be so concerned about it. I don't think you
I'm-
can hear it. I don't think
okay.
you can hear it.
All right.
Okay, wait. Do you remember where you are? Go back.
I'm gonna play back 30 seconds here, or not even that.
Counterbalance to cortisol. So DHA, you can take it as a supplement. You can take cortisol.
You can hear it. What is that noise?
What is
I
going
just snort laugh.
That's your computer. It's got to be your
It's
computer.
my messages are off. My email's off. I'll shut down my browser. I don't have any tabs open in my browser. What else would that be?
It's Facebook.
Yeah, nothing at Facebook is open. It's just
Do you have Facebook open on your phone? It's not on the phone though.
no, because everything's turned off. It's off. Please sound start up.
What about your message app?
Mine's off.
Yeah,
on
mine is off.
I shut it down.
Mine's a boop. See, mine will go boop. Did you hear it? Boop.
On the laptop?
Is it?
Yeah.
Boop.
Okay.
But you know what I
What the
can do?
heck?
I can just I'll just do that.
Okay.
So just in case. Okay, hold on. We'll edit.
Yeah, I'll edit.
Okay, so go back where she was.
You remember where you're talking?
DHEA.
DHEA?
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me just say we're back.
Wait, go back because you're going to cut right where you go. What is that?
I don't know if I can without making it sound funny.
DHA, you can take it as a supplement. You can take cortisol.
We gotta stop.
Yeah, DHA.
Let me go right here, and then because I think I gotta go.
You've got some tab open. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna cut it. Everything from there.
We're professionals here,
I can
Becca.
tell. I can tell. I expect nothing less than the best.
Thank you.
It's made in your adrenal glands. You've probably heard of like adrenal burnout or adrenal fatigue or adrenals this or that and the other.
What is that? Okay.
I can start with
That's where I'm
cortisol is
gonna-
made in the
I'm
adrenals.
gonna.
Okay.
I'm gonna. Did you know where you're at? I'm
Mhm.
gonna cut it right there, and then we're gonna go. I'll give you a nod when when I'm ready. Are you ready?
So cortisol is your stress hormone. It's made in your adrenal glands, and its primary job is to respond to stress. Well, DHEA is a counterbalance to cortisol. It's also made in the adrenals, and cortisol is very catabolic. It'll break the body down. It's very damaging. It will damage the gut. It will damage your gut immune system. So the idea of an acute stressor is something stresses you out. Someone pulls out in front of you, right? And woo, got to slam on the brakes. Well, cortisol rises to meet the emotional or energetic need of that stressor. DHEA is supposed to rise to counterbalance that. Like collegiate athletes in double A. Oh my gosh, whatever.
NAA.
Not the college athlete.
Not the
The
NAACP.
Oh my gosh,
No.
too many acronyms.
That's a different one.
I am perimenopausal. I can't
NCAA,
remember. You know
right?
what I'm saying?
NCAA.
They can't take DHEA. It would be
Oh.
like considered doping.
Okay.
You can buy it at the pharmacy, right?
Oh,
but,
really?
Yeah, but DHEA has a natural age-related decline, just like our hormones do. But DHEA is the parent hormone for testosterone and estrogen. And so when under stress, if DHEA is declined, then it can impact your estrogen and your testosterone. If cortisol, your body has a high need for cortisol to survive something hard, it's going to prioritize cortisol production over progesterone. So when young people have depleted hormones, it's usually related to some sort of stressor. So what is that stressor? Is it toxins? Is it pathogens? Is it
Environmental
a relationship?
Yeah.
What's going on there? And then what I see a lot, especially in men that are dealing with like the bellies, or women that are dealing with the bellies, is when the body's inflamed, the body will take that DHEA and push it over to estrogen instead of testosterone. It's called aromatization. So then you're estrogen dominant, right? So there's all these really cool hormone pathways at play, but a lot of it goes right back to what's stressing your body out.
Do you generally recommend that people take DHEA supplements?
Never without testing.
Okay.
You wouldn't just be like, I'm just going to take some DHEA. No. And so you can test cortisol and DHEA via blood work.
Okay.
I use a functional lab called the Dutch test, which is a super deep dive into all the hormones and the adrenals and everything. But you wouldn't necessarily take it if you don't need it,
Okay.
right?
But it's an over-the-counter thing?
Yeah, you can buy it right here at the pharmacy.
Why do you think, when you talk about the Dutch test, I've heard of that before, and other types of tests, why do you think that insurance doesn't cover practices like yours, when they'll cover chiropractic care, but they won't cover practices like yours, to where you're actually helping them and not feeding them with more junk in their system?
It's because, one, I'm not a licensed doctor.
Okay.
And so I don't have CPT codes to give them, right?
Okay.
So the other side of things is the types of functional labs, looking at gut health, looking at toxins, looking at all these things, is considered alternative. It shouldn't be.
Yeah.
It's foundational. But in the big scheme of traditional medicine and pharmaceuticals and insurance, it's considered very alternative. And so and I also really do believe that most insurance is not interested in being proactive and preventative. Even looking at blood work, I run blood work all the time. It's fun. I love blood work. But when I'm looking at blood work, I'm looking at functional or optimal range. The range that shows up on your lab PDF is medical range. It can be very wide. Think about who goes and gets blood work. people who probably don't feel very, very good, right? The random person once a year who gets a physical, maybe. But so you can be in medical range and have a lot of symptoms, but you go to the doctor and they're like, congratulations, your blood work's in range. And they're like, well, I feel terrible. And so I look at that same blood work, same exact panel, but I'm using different ranges to say, hey, this is starting to go high or it's starting to go low, and looking at extrapolating patterns. Well, this is a pattern of metabolic dysfunction. This is a pattern of inflammation. This is a pattern of whatever. And if you address those causes before you get out of medical range, they're a lot easier to move the needle on.
It's just like when you go, as a female, you go to the doctor and you get those labs done, and they're like, oh, all your labs are normal.
Yep.
And you're like, but I feel like crap.
Which is wild, too, because, you look at human beings, you got one person's 400 pounds, one person's 95 pounds, some people are diabetes and then all these things, and then you got this range and they say, oh, you're good. It's like, okay, well, wait a minute here. I don't feel good.
Yeah. No, and just for example, B12, functional range for B12 is 800 and 900, and medical range to be technically low is 200. And so you can be wildly deficient in B12, which impacts energy. It impacts the ability to detox. It impacts all of these things. And your doctor's like, no, you're good. And I look at that and I'm horrified.
Yeah.
Like, take some B12, please.
I take B12, and I noticed when I started taking it that I think a lot better.
Yeah.
I'm more focused at work, and I can make fun of Michelle easier.
Oh, thank goodness.
Let's stop the B12.
Yeah. I'm a big believer in B12.
Well, check your label when you get home.
Yeah.
Because I'm a big believer in being a supplement snob. And there's a lot of synthetic B12 out on the market today. And that synthetic B12 is cyanocobalamin, CYANO. And it is cheap to make, and it's in everything, and it's toxic to the body. It damages the gut and can cause even anxiety and panic attacks. It's what's in that little emergency packet you might take during allergy season, and it's terrible for you. Same with folate. Folic acid is fortified in everything. It's in prenatals, but folic acid actually blocks folate receptors on cells. If you have an MTHFR genetic variant,
I've heard this before.
It can absolutely be toxic for you. So make sure you're getting, the active forms, not the synthetic junk. So for B12, look for methylcobalamin, not cyano.
You know
Methyl,
that
okay.
MTH, how do you say MTH?
MTHFR.
Yeah. I had, what was it, Ancestry or whatever. I'd had my DNA done, and it came up that I have.
Do you have one copy or two copies?
I don't know.
Heterozygous, homozygous?
I know.
Was it 677 or 1298?
You know what? I'm going to let you look at it and you tell me what it is.
I'm homozygous 1298C, which means I am about 40% less able to take the dietary folate I eat, think leafy greens, and convert it into usable folate in the body. And so that's going to impact all sorts of downstream processes. And so MTHFR is a folate conversion gene.
That's just...
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
It went. I want to ask you a question really quick about, what do you think, there's one symptom that women constantly have that people say it's just stress, but it's also really a red flag that you should really, when someone comes in, you're like, oh, it's stress. I'm so stressed. And you're like looking at their labs, you're like, this is more than stress.
I mean, I would say that there's not one. I see this kind of top 5 that is across the board, especially in midlife women. That's fatigue. That's not relieved by sleep. It's irritability or anxiety, just your mood's all over the place. Brain fog, and then inability to lose weight are kind of my top 4.
Yeah.
And they're all connected. Every single one of them is connected to each other. And so I tell women, especially with the weight thing, it's so common in midlife. And these women come to me and they're upset because they're like, I'm trying so hard.
Calories in,
and
calories out.
nothing works. And I say, it's not your fault. A inflamed body will not lose weight. A stressed body will not lose weight. A nutrient and mineral deficient body won't lose weight. If you're deficient in your 4 primary minerals, calcium, magnesium, potassium, and sodium, your metabolism is kind of like a car with a dead battery. Not a lot of oomph there for weight loss, for energy, for adrenal function, for thyroid function. Pop quiz, Michelle.
What's that?
Where's the safest place in the body to store toxins?
Your poop.
That's what you want. You want it going in your poop so it gets out of your body. But the safest place in the body to store toxins is fat tissue.
Oh.
Because the body's trying to sequester it away from your internal organs.
Uh-huh.
A toxic body will not feel safe enough to drop the pounds.
Because it needs that place to
if
store the
that
toxins.
fat goes away, then those toxins are more dangerous. So if you have high cortisol, stress, you're gonna pack on the belly fat, right? So women come to me so frustrated, and it's so fun to say like, "Hey, Sarah, it's not your fault." And then the super exciting thing about perimenopause is, as estrogen declines, no matter how good you eat, no matter how you move your body, no matter how amazing your genetics are, whatever you've got going on for yourself, there's a rise in insulin resistance because of the decline in estrogen. So then insulin resistance picks up about that time as well. And then you don't have, estrogen can be very fat burning. And so it's like all of this perfect storm for all of a sudden. I mean, over the last year, I've lost 40 plus pounds. 40 plus pounds. I woke up one day last spring and was like, what the hell happened to me? I'm 47 now, so I would have been 46. And I didn't recognize myself in the mirror. I looked like a giant ball of inflammation. I felt horrible. And perimenopause hit me like a truck. But it wasn't just the snapshot in time of like, oh, all of a sudden you're in perimenopause. It was that a lot of things had been simmering for a long time that I ignored. I pushed down. I didn't prioritize. I'm a mom of 3 boys. They're all in sports. My husband travels a lot for work, like solo parenting a lot. I run a business. And I do a lot of the things that I preach about, but I also had let some things slide.
Yeah.
And I woke up one day and we looked at vacation pictures and was like, I don't know who that person is. And I drew my line in the sand and I said, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm just not. And so I put myself on the same kind of protocols I put my clients on.
Yeah.
And we had just gotten back from a trip to Minnesota where I was in every body of water I could find up at the North Shore, gorgeous. Going on a hike and be like, oh, I wonder how cold this water is. Now I'm going to have a snack. Stupid. I know better. I brought home a parasite from that. And then all of a sudden I get home from that trip. I'm not sleeping. I want to crawl out of my skin. My whole body felt like I felt crazy. Well, parasites are really active at night. And when they party, they have a little frat party in your gut. And they spike cortisol. And so all of a sudden you're in freaking fight or flight all night, and you're just like, well, I'm not sleeping now. And so because I do what I do, I thought, I'm sure I can figure this out why I'm not sleeping. I'm sure I can figure it out. I spent like 4 to 5 weeks being like, I'm gonna try, maybe it's magnesium, maybe it's this. And then finally I was like, Becca, don't be a big dum-dum. Do the test. You tell your clients
because
to take.
you make practitioners normally make the worst.
Yeah,
types
they were
of
the worst.
patients.
Yeah.
And so sure enough, I had high levels of parasites. My nighttime cortisol was 3 times what it should have been. And when I knew what to do about it, I was like, oh, cool. And within a week, I was sleeping again because I could bring my cortisol down while I got rid of the parasite.
Is your story that you did with yourself very similar to what most of the people that come see you, that they have a similar type of thing?
I would say it's you just wake up in the mirror and take a look and you're like, how did I get here?
Do you feel like I know I've done this. Do you feel like a lot of those people come and they go, well, I'm just getting older, and the body breaks down. So, maybe this is all just normal.
I'm over 40. I'm supposed to feel this way. That is the biggest line of BS. Or it's just because I'm a mom. Or it's just because I'm in perimenopause. And it's the biggest lies we tell ourselves.
It's true.
There are times when this happened to me. I think it was Saturday or Sunday. We were going to Costco or something. And I looked over at my husband. I said, I feel like I'm drunk. And he goes, what do you mean? I said, I just feel like out of it. There's so much. I've got a lot of personal stuff that's going on in the family and work and everything else. And I'm like, I feel like I'm just not myself. Like everything is kind of in a tunnel, or I'm swimming through something. And so it's very interesting.
It's probably cortisol related, but it could also be estrogen related. In the fall, we lost my mother-in-law, and it was a really stressful time frame, and under stress, the body utilizes more hormonal resources. And so even though I was already on estrogen HRT, big fan of bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, by the way. I could talk about that for 5 hours, but under that really high stress load, my body was just using up that estrogen like a sponge.
Yeah.
And so it was the day after Thanksgiving, and I lost my mind. Like, somebody said something that probably, really looking back, wasn't a big deal, but I took it really personally, and I got it from the table, and I pushed my chair, and I started crying, and I walked out, and I was like, I'm leaving. And I took myself on a walk. Nobody knew where I was, but it was like, once the waterworks turned on, I could not stop. I could not stop crying. I'm not a crier. Crying's good for you. I'm a fan, but I couldn't stop. I couldn't, and I was having totally irrational thoughts, like, I'm just gonna run away. I'm gonna go to Mexico. Nobody cares about me anyway.
I've had those thoughts.
And
I've had those thoughts.
I'm just gonna keep on driving.
So, and what was the cause of that?
Well,
was that the cortisol?
No, well, it was partially the stress response system, but what happened was, and so I literally felt like a crazy person, and I texted my hormone prescriber, and I said, I'm pretty sure my estrogen's gone. It's not there because of how reactive and how I feel, and I'm having intrusive thoughts, and I knew I was having thoughts that didn't make any sense, and I knew I was reacting in a way that didn't make sense. And we were traveling at the time for Thanksgiving. I said, as soon as I get home, I need to test my hormones. She said, yeah. And my estrogen had tanked.
I just want to clarify. So if you're telling me for women, the more stressed we get, and if we are on HRT, the more estrogen that we will need.
Your body will kind of burn through it. And it depends on the person. I'm someone that just naturally needs higher levels of hormones to function. Higher levels of, my progesterone's pretty average need, but I need higher estrogen and testosterone to feel like a normal human being.
Yeah.
And so under that stress, my body was just utilizing that HRT, and so my levels had been normal, because I test every 3 months. I'm very aware, and they had tanked, but I was aware enough of what could have happened to know when I realized I just lost my dang mind.
Yeah.
That I was like, I think it's my estrogen. But what happens with a lot of women is that they don't know that, and so then they really feel like they're crazy, and they're not. It's just a hormone.
It's funny you should say that, because I have noticed, it's like, I was like, we had Gretchen Palmer on, which great
Episode
NP.
216, I think, yeah.
She's my NP. Love her. She's totally amazing. But I've often thought, I should just really send her a note. I think I need another extra little pump, maybe on another arm.
Well, how often do you get your hormones tested?
What's that?
Oh my gosh! If you're on HRT and you're not fully menopausal yet,
I have no kitchen, so
okay. So then it's kind of a standard, but still getting it tested every now and then, especially if you are under stress. And here's the thing: this is what I preach all the time, and no one's doing it in the traditional model. You cannot just test progesterone, testosterone, and estrogen. One, you need to test all three estrogens.
Yeah, my endocrinologist does that because I have PCOS, so he does. I do probably once a year.
There's a lot of acronyms going here. Yeah. I'm having a hard time following.
So you always test cortisol and DHEA too, because is it really that you don't have high enough testosterone or estrogen, or is it just that you are depleted in DHEA, which is the parent hormone?
Or am I just a crazy bitch right now?
Or it could be that just your natural personality. But
right. Ask my daughter. She'll agree.
So and then test your all three estrogens, because there's estradiol, which is what you take.
Yes.
That's the most potent of all three estrogens. There's estriol, which tends to be only high in pregnancy. However, if you're inflamed, the body interconverts 16-OH estrogen metabolites with estriol, and so that's a sign that you're inflamed. But then there's the inflammatory estrogen, which is estrone. Estrone, so if you're taking HRT or you're just making your own estrogen, if you have inflammation in the body's going to take that, and you're taking oral estrogen especially, the liver can convert that estradiol over to estrone, so then your estradiol, which you need, is low, and your estrone, which you don't really need in high levels, is high. So getting all three estrogens tested is also really important.
So you can order the blood tests?
So I do blood work. I've worked with some labs, so everything through me, because I'm not a licensed doctor. We don't bill insurance, anything like that. So everything's cash pay.
Yeah.
But I've worked with, I have this lab that I use. They're called DHA labs. They're wonderful. And I've, as a cash pay person, the blood work can really add up. So what I've developed with is a panel, several different panels that when you bundle a bunch of markers together, really drops the price point. And so, yeah, so I have panels we can send, or if you can run, I would say, hey, anything you can get covered by insurance, do it.
Yeah.
So go to your doctor, ask for these markers, and then, send me your results when you get them.
And so when you get the results and you see that there's something wrong, then, and you think they need to have hormone replacement therapy, you have to send them to a doctor.
So I'm not a prescriber. So I
Right.
have a couple people in Texas. So I have one that's telehealth and one that's local,
Okay.
Depending on the person and what they want. But yes, I would not be the prescriber. Now, if it's something like a younger person, like that 18-year-old and their hormones are off or
There's something
whatnot,
else,
then it's like, okay, we need to backtrack. That she didn't need progesterone. She needed to get her body to start making it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to kind of shift to the guys that are listening
Yeah.
right now. And, a lot of husbands out there, they're also, it's hard on the women, obviously, but it's hard on the men, too.
Steve's like, wait, it's all about me.
It's all
What
about
is it?
But if so, you're a husband and your wife. You come home and your wife's home and come home from work, and she says, "God, I just don't feel like myself." What should the husband, the man in that relationship, be saying to her to be supportive?
What can I do to help? Or even better, look around. Do dishes need to be washed? Does laundry need to be done? Do you want to take the kid on a walk and say, hey, honey, why don't you go rest? I've got
reduce
dinner.
stress.
Reduce the mental load. So much of the house, and this is kind of a cliche, but so much of the mental load of families and of households are the women. They're keeping the schedules. They're keeping, sports schedules. They're the doctor's appointments, the birthdays, packing lunches, all of the things. So taking a part of that mental load, because what happens is we have the same mental load or more, especially when you start taking care of aging parents and whatnot, and the fogginess is there. And you walk into a room every 5 seconds, you don't know where you are or why you're there. You can't find your keys. And so as the mental load stays the same or increases, your capacity is decreasing because of the brain fog. And then ADHD crops up big time as estrogen depletes. Fully ADHD person here. And so you lose the resiliency and the capacity to handle normal life stressors. So, women asking is good. What can I do to help? But sometimes it's
Just
really, really
doing it.
nice. Like, I don't want to have to tell you. Like, look at me that I'm floundering. I'm not functioning.
I am
and do
drowning.
something.
Yeah.
Well,
Just do something.
but
And then
the-
just say, like, I love you and I don't know what's wrong and maybe I don't understand what's going on
There
hormonally.
you go. That's what I was trying to
but
get
like,
to, is because
it's just like, say, I love you, I'm here. What do you need?
I
Do
have
you
my
need to go talk
I have
to
my
someone?
2 cents
Yeah.
on this one. My
Yeah.
2 cents is that, my husband will say this to me. You have a lot on your plate right now. You're doing a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, take something off my plate.
Yeah.
Just don't. And also, sometimes I just want to vent.
Yeah.
I don't want you to solve
that's
it.
been really hard for me. I try really hard for that, and I think that's a big lesson for a lot of men, is that you guys don't need Mr. Fix It, which is what we tend to want to
Yes.
do. You just need somebody to listen and say, man, that sounds really rough.
But I've
I'm
also
sorry you're going through that."
realized that, with you, I spend, probably more workday waking hours with you than I do with my own husband. And I think that because his mindset is he's a problem solver, you're a problem solver as well, right?
Most men
That-
are.
But the way they solve problems is so different the way I would solve problems. And because, like, if I'm having, something with my daughter or whatever else, and he tries to step in, he's not doing the job that I would, and so the communication is kind of getting stressed. But I'm just saying, like, just sometimes take it off my plate. If I'm having that bad day, and he'll come in and he'll, not that, he'll make dinner, or he'll,
Right.
hey, he does the laundry and he goes and does stuff. Okay, let me do that. Don't ask me what you need. Just wait, Becca said,
Just do it.
just go do it.
Or just say, hey, right now that I can see that you're going through something really hard, do you want me to just listen? Do you want me to try to solve this for you? Do you want me to go get you a latte, right?
Would you like a margarita
Would you
with
like a
tahini?
But sometimes that's also playing Mr. Fix It, though.
Yeah.
That's, what do you need from me? I've seen that with my wife, Holly, where I'll ask her, what do you need from me? So I don't know what I need.
Well,
and I'm
and it's
actually
true.
stressing
They
her out
probably
more
don't
by
know.
trying to say, let me go do something for you. And she doesn't know. And it makes it worse.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, something I do a lot of those free connection calls. So it's a chance to talk to me for 30 minutes. What do you have going on? Maybe the first time someone feels safe, seen, heard, and valued.
And somebody to listen
And somebody to listen
Yeah.
to. And women often, I would say 50% of the time, they cry. Because I see them, I hear them, I believe them, and unfortunately, and then we talk about different services. Hey, this could be good, or this could be good. What do you think about this? And they'll leave that call thinking, this is what I want. This is what I need. Whether I have a range of services, so it could be my 8-month 6 lab program, or just like a little self-guided thing, right? Different ranges, and then I check back in with them, a few days later. Hey, any questions I can answer? And they'll say, my husband said no. I really, really wanted this, but my husband said no.
So I buried him in the backyard.
Yeah. And so
That's
husbands,
terrible.
I would say, maybe it actually literally isn't in your budget. Okay.
Yeah.
But don't just say no. Say, let's look at other options, or I understand how much this means to you. Maybe we can figure out a way to do this, or we can find a way to do it that is within our means, right? But just to say no, or they'll come, the woman will come back and say, my husband doesn't even believe that I'm having
That's
these
where I was going to do.
symptoms."
Do you think that the men have a tendency to not fully understand
Yes.
the process? I remember when I was going through not only my hysterectomy, but my oophorectomy, and my husband had all of his own fears, which were whether it was being hospitalized, or how I was going to feel afterwards, or our sex life, whatever it was. And I finally looked at him and I said, I'm going to be real honest with you. This isn't about you. This is about me.
Yeah.
And I hear you. I hear what you're saying. I hear your concerns. But at this moment, I am trying to come to terms with what I'm about to go through also. And so, I'm trying my hardest. I'm going to get on HRT and whatever else. And then, gosh, when I got on that HRT, oh my gosh, it felt so much better. I was like, where have you been my whole life? Absolutely. But I think
Do you hear that a lot, Becca?
Oh, HRT, it saved my life. I can tell you, I didn't realize how much of my severe chronic upper body pain that didn't make sense and was for no reason was from
We
all of a
talked
sudden my
about that,
testosterone
yeah.
dropped. I got on testosterone, and then after months of suffering, really couldn't find a comfortable position to sleep in, all of my kind of upper back and shoulders and arms, got on testosterone, and it was the last one to tank for me. Progesterone went first, then estrogen. And within 10 days, my pain was 90% better, and I was like, no. Did it really do that so quickly? And then I kind of was testing, so I kind of was went down in my dosage, testing it out, and within a week, pain came back, got back on. I was like, it really and truly is. The thing is, men truly cannot understand, because you don't go through the same dramatic drop in hormones. It would be like if you aged all of a sudden 80 years in 1 month.
Yeah.
But they do go through a drop.
It's not
right?
the same.
But not
It's
similar.
the same.
I think it affects us a little bit mentally, but I think it affects women much more.
Do you think, I'm asking you,
The
I'm
drop
sorry.
in hormones, testosterone for men.
What is the most common catalyst that brings somebody in? Is it their sex drive, their brain fog, their relationship with their husband? Is it just feeling like shit 100% of the time?
Yeah.
I mean, what
It's
is
a
that one
combination, but
thing that
it's
you're
usually
constantly?
it's just I feel like I'm not functioning, or they're used to operate. I work with a lot of women who are type A, high functioning people.
I know nothing about
they're-
these women.
and they're so frustrated because they went from super high functioning to all of a sudden they can't think. They don't have a good stress response, so they're very reactive. I call it fun when fun Becca disappeared. I'm a fun person. I love fun. I get delight in corny jokes. It's I want to have fun. If it's not fun, I don't really want to do it.
Yeah.
And fun Becca disappeared, and I was just pissy Becca, and I was exhausted Becca, and I was just it's like I had a split personality that one day just this other person came in, and so a lot of it's just the severe fatigue, or they can't focus, or their mood's all over the place. I mean, it's never just one thing. Unfortunately, it's a combination, and each person presents differently, which is why women are getting told so many different things. You know, there's no such thing as the way you go through perimenopause. It's going to look different for everyone.
Yeah.
And it can start as early as 35.
Yeah.
But I have some women at 50-something, their hormone levels are still great, right? Like there's such a broad, and perimenopause can last 12 to 15 years.
Oh, jeez.
That's choice,
Yeah.
Steve? We've talked about that before.
I want to ask you about how perimenopause.
Say that again.
Perimenopause. Perimenopause of. God dang it! Shoot. Perimenopause affects marriage in ways people don't talk about.
Absolutely it does, because all of a sudden the woman feels crazy and the man says, oh, she's crazy, and then he tries to be sweet
Yeah.
and help, and then what he does to help doesn't work and backfires.
Yeah.
And then it becomes this whole then the woman's like, oh, I don't want to have fun with you later tonight because you were mean to me and now I'm all ragey.
It's a
and
vicious cycle.
absolutely.
Because women are so complex. I'm just going to say this out loud. Men are so simple. We want, make me a sandwich, tell me I'm hot, touch my wiener once in a while. and that's it. We're happy. I'm happy as a clam.
Yeah.
But women are so much more complex.
If you looked at me and pissed me off early in the day, abso-freaking-lutely not. Right? And so but the part of it is that the very thing you said, when I work with a lot of women who say, and I say, hey, what do you actually want? And they say, I have no idea who I am anymore. It is literally an identity shift from high functioning, badass, just do all these amazing things in your life to I don't know who I am. I'm not functioning, I'm miserable, and I don't know what to do about it. And there's so much misinformation out there. So they're getting told all this stuff. I had someone tell me something crazy. I was like, there's no truth to any of that.
Well, going back to, that's why men sometimes, if you're a good man and your wife comes home and says, hey, I want to try this thing, I think it's going to fix me. That's why men are skeptical of that, is because there's so much misinformation.
There is. And then women, I know, they've tried, by the time they get to me, they've tried 1,000 things.
Sure.
They've spent time, energy, money trying all these things and treating their bodies like a science experiment because they're desperate to feel better. And so I've kind of coined a term of what I do, and I say, we're gonna get you your Jeep body. I'm obsessed with Jeep Wranglers. It's my dream car, and I will be getting one that has all the bells and whistles. That's a whole nother story. But a Jeep body, what does that do? It takes you anywhere you want to go. It's strong. It's powerful. It's super adorable, and it can climb any mountain you want. Right? I mean, midlife should be a time of women coming into their own, having adventures, not dealing with any BS anymore because they're like, we don't do that anymore, right?
That's
really
pretty freeing.
owning who they are and this amazing life they built, and they've worked hard. They've raised babies, they've built businesses, they've created these dream careers, and they get to this point and it sucks. And then they're like, why? What's going on? What am I doing? How did I get here, right? And so at the very pinnacle of when they should be having the best life, they're not, because they feel like crap all the time. And so, I mean, midlife should be sexy, fun, adventurous, playful, and that's what I did for myself in the last year. Remember, Fun Becca disappeared.
Yeah.
Fun Becca's back.
Yeah.
I'm confident. I have amazing energy. I get joyful and delighted for no reason, right? I'm back having adventures. I find myself the one thing I said for years, all day, every day, was, I'm so done. I'm done, right? And now I find myself catching myself saying, I like my life. I like that kid. Hey, that husband, he's pretty great. Instead of just being angry all the time.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, pre-Becca, before you got into this and who you are now and helping other women, what is something you yourself, though, had to unlearn from what you used to be?
Oh, that's a good question.
So I learned at an early age to be the first responder, that I was going to save everyone
Guilty.
from everything.
Guilty.
And would run myself ragged and burn myself out. I was a chronic overfunctioner. I will solve all your problems. And in doing that, I will have no time or energy to solve my own problems. I remember when I was really trying to kind of address this issue, because when you're draining your own battery pack, helping everyone else solve their problems. One, if you're overfunctioning, you're by the very nature they're under functioning, right? You're not letting those other people rise into their power. But my husband, sweet man that he is, he was like, I've got, you are so tired and you had a long day. I've got dinner. And I went, okay. Because he's good on the grill and barbecue, but he's not as proficient in the kitchen, right? I'm usually the kitchen cooker. And he's like, go sit down, put your feet up. He was being so sweet. And you know, and just relax. And I did that in the living room, and I lasted about 10 seconds.
Because everything's the same color.
I was back up, and he's looking through the fridge. I was like, oh, I'll help you find that. Let me help you find that. And he's like, what are you doing? Go sit down. And I went back and sat down. Literally, I was so uncomfortable. I was back in there for 30 seconds. He's like, why are you so hard to help? Just let me help you. And I had to go and sit with the uncomfortable awkwardness of it not happening the way I would have done it, right? Guess what? It was edible. It was fine. We all survived. It was great, you know, but I had to practice asking for help and accepting help because I felt like if I needed help, I shouldn't need help, one. And if I needed help, then I wasn't enough and that I was less than. And so that was a huge thing that I had to overcome, to just stop draining my own battery pack all the time. I didn't have to do all the things for all the people.
Yeah. So marriages, couples, you know, going through this together, how do you guide those people to build a stronger relationship, instead of, because when you were describing, you know, what's going on between men and women, I just see this huge fracture happening. How do people get through this together and come out stronger on the other side?
Well, first, I think the male counterpart needs to understand that it's nothing the woman is like doing, right? And that it's a natural biological process that's happening, and that it can take a really long time to happen, and it can be really dramatic and very confusing, right? So the woman often doesn't understand what's happening in her body. She just knows she feels like she's crazy and she's losing her mind and she's weepy and she's ragey and she's exhausted, right? So understanding that it is extremely confusing for the woman, and so, you know, being supportive of her getting support.
Right.
So whether that's someone like me, whether that's a really amazing OB-GYN, whether that is whoever the person is, supporting her, understanding what's happening in her body and why. And I am a big fan of HRT. It's the ultimate bioidentical HRT. It's the ultimate longevity hack. It's cardiovascular health, it's brain health, it's bone health, it's all of the things. But HRT is only half the equation. So if you are toxic, if you are depleted, if your cortisol is crazy, if you have, you know, crazy pathogens in your gut, that HRT is not going to do in your body what you want it to do in the way you want it to do it. So really looking at stress levels, looking at gut health, looking at toxins, looking at all of those things helps that HRT just work better, right? But really giving your spouse the I don't like the word permission, the encouragement.
The grace.
The encouragement, hey, go find somebody. I'm a dude. I don't understand perimenopause.
Yeah.
Cool. I know that. I want you to be well.
Yeah.
So what does that need? What do you need to be well? And encouraging and supporting that. And then, you know, for the woman to really take the time to say, what survival identity have I been living in, right? Is it overfunctioning? Is it people pleasing?
Yeah.
Is it whatever? And she's got to, like, for me, my relationship with my husband is better than it has been in decades right now. But I did a lot of inner work, and I realized that so much of what I was experiencing, I was telling myself stories all the time about what he was thinking, about what he thought of me, and
Becca,
none of it was true.
Yeah, this is what I was going to tell you, is that I think that's where this gap starts to form, is that, you know, the wife's very uncomfortable. She's not feeling good in her own skin. And then the husband's like, well, she's not happy with me. What am I doing wrong? Maybe she's interested in somebody else. And then you get further and further and further
if you look
apart.
at
That's scary.
You have friends who've been married 20, 25 years, and all of a sudden these marriages are breaking apart, and you're like, well, wait a minute, what if we just focused on the woman's health?
Yeah.
And maybe that would...
The hard part, yes, I agree, 100% agree. The hard part is the man gets all these little things in his head and starts to sabotage
It's not
things.
about him. Like, my husband really hasn't changed.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the same guy he was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I changed. I came back to reality.
Yeah.
I was not literally emotionally, I think, in reality in that relationship, because I felt so many things that were out of my control, that I was just so reactive all the time, and he would not even do anything but like look at me and be like, oh yeah, well, blah blah blah.
But when you got like that, I'm asking you both. When you got like that, what's the proper response as a loving husband?
I think, okay, so for me is that just sitting there having that conversation, right? Sitting across, I have realized that I have to be less reactive, and I've said this, before, I have to be less reactive, because if I react, then I don't react properly, right? And so just me, I think you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself, because for myself, I think that there's some responsibility that I have as well, and being honest to my husband and saying, hey, there's something off about me, and him listening to me.
That's a lot easier for a man to grasp than it is, I'm not happy and I don't know who I am anymore. And
because gosh, it's automatically my fault. I'm taking all of the blame.
I
I'm not
guarantee
enough.
there's
I'm
a
not
lot
enough.
of men out there that's what they hear is, oh, you're not happy in our relationship anymore. What are we doing?
And it's just like, no, and it's not the end all. And I think if you a lot of relationships end because people don't communicate.
I was just actually, when you were saying that, I was thinking, I wonder how many relationships have ended because one spouse or the other is going through something like you're describing, Becca, and the other person didn't deal with it well, and they just grow apart.
And then all of a sudden, the woman gets, I've seen this so many times with friends, they get divorced, and all of a sudden she starts taking care of herself.
Taking care of herself.
And taking care.
The men do it too.
Not even just taking care of yourself by appearance-wise, but taking care of yourself, saying, okay, maybe it wasn't just this other miserable person I was with.
Now I'll go whatever.
Yes.
But
you don't have you don't have that to fall back on anymore either. It's like it's my responsibility now.
Getting hormones balanced is key. Dealing with stress is key. Making sure your cortisol and DHEA is good is key. All of those things, but also really working on the mind-body repatterning of most of the time when this sort of dynamic is going on, there are subconscious patterns running the show that you've not given them permission to run the show, but they're running the show nonetheless. And that's one of the big things that I teach, and I have a self-guided version of it. And it's that's called midlife recalibration. And it takes you through the most I've served over 1,000 midlife women in the past 7.5 years, and I see the same subconscious patterns over and over and over, that if you can break free of those, you're like, oh, I've been doing this thing this whole time, and I had no idea. But it's hard because you can't read the label from the inside of the bottle, right? And so it's hard to figure out that yourself, oh, I've been doing this thing, right? So a lot of it is self-discovery for her, is coming back to her. I didn't come back to my relationship in a good place till I had figured my own self out, and he gave me the space and the time and the love and the compassion to do it. I mean, when I lost my mind the day after Thanksgiving and we're driving home and I still cannot stop crying 4 hours later, he's like, baby, we're gonna figure this out. I don't understand it, but we're gonna figure this out. And so I think a lot of it is having the resources and the capacity to be like, I need to figure this out. I'm going to figure this out, and I need to figure out who the best person is to help me.
Becca, I'm reading through some of this, what you were just talking about, and some of the you will stop and you will begin kind of things. And, the saying yes when you mean no, and that's what you're going to try to stop. And what you'll try to begin is setting boundaries that'll actually hold with a new sense of freedom. Let's say pushing your dreams indefinitely is what you want to try to stop, and you're going to try to begin having the mental bandwidth to plan a life that excites you. And it is it sounds commonsensical, right, to be able to read through these, but also there is some power in saying it out loud and believing it, and the mentality of the fake it till you make it.
And so I do a workshop a few times a month. It's $27. It's super cheap. But I take women through this whole process. I have a 4-step process for identifying and rewiring the subconscious pattern. And I just did one of the workshops Friday a week ago, and one of the members was like, what she realized she was doing is she was waiting to take action on her dream job, career kind of situation until everything was perfect. And I'm like, just do the thing. Just do the thing. It doesn't have to. It's never going to be perfect. And she was like, oh my gosh.
That's
and
not the way life
she
is.
came back to me
That's
a week
how this
later.
podcast got started.
She's like, Becca, I made the post. I made the post. I did the thing. And she was like so excited about it, right? And so, when we're operating from these survival identities, you're letting the subconscious patterns run the show. So this is what I'm saying. Like, yes, work on your gut, balance your hormones, but
there's also the mental
you have
aspect.
to get out of the survival identities, and because if you don't, then you're not going to have the long lasting impact of doing all the biochemical stressor
And
work.
this is a workshop that you put on, or tell me what this is.
So this right here is my recalibration program, and there's a self-guided version, and there's one with some more additional kind of deeper level of support, like I call it office hours. But even the self-guided version, you can join a monthly call and just talk about it. But the workshop is to take people through kind of a mini version of it, where we talk about the 4 pillars these survival identities show up, or these patterns show up, and it's usually career, relationships, oh my gosh, I'm having a perimenopause brain fog right now. Life, and health and wellness, duh. And so, but it's usually multiple of those pillars are wobbling at the same time, but it could be the same pattern underlying cause, triggering the wobbling. So I help women in that workshop. It's about a 75-minute workshop where they're identifying a pattern, and I take them through my 4-step interrupt process, and then they go do the work, and it is so fun.
I'm gonna have to sign up for this next class. That
so I usually do about 2 a month, and it's $27, right? So I wanted it to be super accessible.
That's a lunch.
Yeah, and then so some people just take that and they run with it, and they're like solving all their problems, and some people are like, I want to keep this going, and so they'll.
It's the opportunity, just like what we were saying, is sometimes it's just saying it out loud, right? And dealing with it.
Yeah, I want to ask you. You mentioned Hashimoto's a little while ago. You see people that have that? What's the procedure for that? What's the protocol?
So, I have a lot of Hashi's clients. A few lupus here and there tend to be my autoimmune, issues of the day.
I feel like she's looking at us.
I know.
Here's a Hashimoto's and a lupus.
Yeah, right here.
So it's the same type of triggers that I see over and over. It's inflammatory foods.
Which are what? Tell us
some of the most inflammatory foods I see across the board are gluten, dairy, corn, and eggs. So grains in general, but gluten can be, and I have everyone I say, and I don't tell everybody to go gluten-free. I don't think everybody needs to do it. But when I tell someone, I really think you need to try this for 30 days, and they push back, and then they get so mad at me because when they come back and they're like, Becca, I'm so upset that this worked. I feel so much better.
I'm a gluten light person.
Yeah.
I'm not gluten-free, but I'm gluten light.
If you have an autoimmune condition, there's no such thing as a little bit of gluten. It's like throwing gasoline on an out-of-control fire in your body. So gluten's can be a big thing, but it's also toxins. High levels of toxins will completely wreck your gut. That can cause inflammation.
For instance,
so everything from heavy metals to mycotoxins from a mold exposure to environmental toxins like pesticides, herbicides, BPA, phthalates, industrial solvents. I do this test. It's so amazing. It's one of my favorite nerdy tests. It's called the total toxin burden, and I'm horrified on what comes back from people, but and then pathogens, I see H. pylori, I see parasites really trigger. So everything that happens in the gut directly impacts the thyroid. And then the gut, your 75% of your immune system is in the gut. So maybe you have low short chain fatty acid producers. Maybe, there's so many different variables of it, but it comes right back to what's happening in the gut. And then maybe you don't have the nutrient sufficiencies to detox properly, right? Like you're low in folate and choline and B12 and these nutrients that you have to have in order to have your methylation and all your detox processes work. Or maybe you're completely depleted in your minerals, so your nervous system is haywire and your body doesn't feel safe to release toxins, right? There's so many vaриables, but toxins, pathogens, nutrient deficiencies across the board for autoimmune.
And that's for men and women.
Yeah, anybody. And so I had a Hashi's client who lived in Galveston, was living in mold. Her Hashi's markers or antibodies were in the 500s. You want them under 10.
Oh, geez.
And within 6 months, once she had to move out of mold. That was non-negotiable. But within 6 months, her numbers were normal.
Oh, wow.
My lupus client I had a couple of years ago, she was told she would always have to be medicated. She, even under medication, she couldn't go out in the sun because her rash was so bad. She was having secondary infertility. She had gotten remarried and wanted another child with her current husband, and was told she just needed to give up, and her menstrual cycles were so bad she couldn't leave the house. And she was basically told, too bad on your dreams of another baby and completing your family, we just have to have a hysterectomy. Oh, and you're going to have lupus your entire life, and just suck it up. It was basically what traditional medicine told her. She came to me and she said, Becca, this is not, I can't accept this. And I said, cool, because you don't have to. She no longer qualifies as having lupus. She got her third child.
Oh, wow.
And her menstrual cycles within 2 weeks of the protocol I put her on went from have to wear dependence diapers, cannot function, it's so horrific, to relatively normal.
Oh, wow.
Jeez, wow.
She was recycling toxins and recycling toxic estrogen. And it's this enzyme produced by gut buggies that cause that process. Like it's all connected.
How are people finding you outside of the Texas
I
country?
don't really know.
Yeah.
It's word of mouth. I don't do any
Podcasts.
advertising,
Podcasts, yeah.
right? Podcasts. I don't. It's word of mouth. It's like, oh, hey, like you're talking to your girlfriend, like, man, I'm having these problems, and I got a text a couple days ago that said, hey, I'm introducing the two of you. So it's word of mouth. My website's holisticobsession.com. Back in the day when I was trying to figure out what my brand was going to be, I'm like in the kitchen just simmering, and I was like, oh, I like the word holistic, and then I was just simmering, and it's like, I talk to myself all the time. I was like, Becca, you are obsessed, and then I went, oh, that's it. I mean, it just makes sense.
I like that name.
So,
I think that's a great name.
because I won't give up.
Well, you
I
said
don't
in
give up on people.
your bio that your ADHD is your superpower.
Absolutely.
So, but could it also be your arch nemesis?
For
in a
the
sense?
cleanliness and organization of my home, absolutely. But it is my superpower. I mean, like, I call it squirrel brain. But I can hyper fixate on work. I mean, I'm like, and then I can literally, I do this all the time. I'll have that connection call, and I will literally figure out what's wrong with somebody. What's wrong with somebody on that call, and I'll take them back. I'll be like, hey, did this happen at any point in time, right when the symptoms start? And they go, oh, it did. I never connect. Like, I will literally figure things out, and I can extrapolate patterns very, very quickly when someone's telling me their symptoms, and I basically can guess now what's going to show up on labs before we get the labs back, which is super cool.
So you're busy all the time. How do you recharge yourself?
Yes.
How do you take time for just yourself?
I'm addicted to the sun.
Yes, I saw that. And
I love nature.
chainsaws.
Nature.
Yeah.
Outside time, I'll even just take my computer and work on my porch. I love the outdoors. I was made for nature. Water, sunlight, trees. I mean, just being outside is just so restorative.
Do you walk
to
around
me.
barefoot sometimes?
Oh yeah, grounding.
Yeah.
And if you ground while touching a tree, it's like supercharged grounding.
I'm gonna have to try
But
that. I
there's
haven't
something
done that
actually
yet.
literally called forest bathing, where you're not actually taking a bath in the forest, but being out in a park or forest kind of area is been shown like biochemically to be super restorative.
That's why I backpack, Michelle.
Yeah, we do a lot of hiking. We're a big hiking family. Right after.
I have the same thing when I'm in Nordstrom's.
Oh my gosh, you're so funny. I hate to shop. You shop, I'll go outside.
Becca, you and me,
Yeah,
I
let's go.
hate to shop.
We took
Hate
a trip
it.
to California right when the school year ended and hiked 50 miles in less than a week. We hit 3 national parks,
Wow.
and it was amazing. Like, being outside, reading. I love
I love to be outside.
I love the romantasy genre of all the things. Like, it's ridiculous, but it's like a little vacation for my brain. I put on some ballet slippers and dance around the house. I used to be a ballerina. Just, moving the body and being outside could be just the
That's
two
your
combinations.
recharge.
I could be so anxious and so miserable, and I go for a walk, and I'm like, oh, cool. All better now.
Feel better.
You've taken us through an amazing journey of women's health, and you're kind of like a detective in one sense, which I really admire about you. What do you hope, this is my last question for you, what do you hope that your sons understand about women because of the way you've raised them and what you do for a living?
That is a really good question. So it is my goal to raise up 3 future men who are kind, who are compassionate, who jump in and unload the dishwasher, who know how to do their own laundry, who know how to cook, who say, you know, I mean, my my rule, I do all kinds of chores and stuff, but I don't take out the trash. I have 3 boys to do that, right? I want them to see my husband supporting me even when, and especially when I'm having a moment of craziness. Like, I had a meltdown about our washing machine, like right before dinner, and I just like, y'all eat without me. I'm leaving because my washing machine won't work. Like, it was when I was in full perimenopause craziness,
Sounds
right?
like me.
And so, inanimate objects. But I want them to understand that they should be and can be strong and powerful and capable, and at the same time gentle and loving and compassionate, to where and then communication. We don't downplay emotions in our house. Like, crying is fine, being angry is fine. There's no such thing as a bad emotion. I want them to be emotionally intelligent. There's nothing you can't talk to me about, right? Like, it's so having the emotional intelligence for themselves is a starting point for having emotional intelligence with a partner.
That's a great
I love
answer.
that. Yeah, Becky, you've given us. You know what? I just thought to myself, I said, she hates being called Becky, and I should end it by saying Becky, and I accidentally
and you did.
Becca.
Thanks a lot,
I'm sorry.
buddy.
I apologize.
Oh, because it says that don't call me Becky.
Don't call me
or I'll
Becky,
punch
and
you.
it was in my
She
head,
bites.
and that's slipped out.
I'm
but-
not. I'm a Rebecca when I'm in trouble. I'm Becca to everyone else.
Becca.
Becky, I'm
I
not.
didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. I was going to say it in jest.
And
but
I know
you-
some great Beckys,
Yeah.
but not me.
You've given us a window to so many different ways to feel better, and I love that, and it's given me a lot of things to think about. You know, my wife's getting to the age where she's having to deal with some of these things, and what you've told me has really helped me out a lot.
Good.
So I'm
And
really thanking you for coming in.
I lied. I had one last question.
Oh, here you
one,
go.
one last question. So I've experienced this. I've seen it on social media. You're very knowledgeable. You're very passionate about what you do, and you've really helped a lot of women over the course of your career. And I want to know how you take being either attacked or hip-checked
that's good.
on social media by different beliefs or different practitioners, whether it's in the area or nationally, that don't really, quote, buy into what you're selling.
Yeah. It's an interesting experience. I can say that, especially when it happens in my local community, but it's happened beyond that. And I think what happens, one, is a scarcity mindset. So if it's a small town, small community, and it's like some people kind of believe you have to fight for patients or fight for clients, and there's not enough to go around. I believe there's plenty to go around, and I'm all about, especially women in business and women in the wellness space, collaboration, not competition. There are women here in our small community that do exactly what I do for the exact same midlife women, and we collaborate all the time. I fully believe it should be a rising tide that sails all ships. So when something like it happens, that where I get attacked like that, it's confusing. I'm like, but why? Like, why are you trying to prevent people from working with me or whatever?
A lot of times people attack people with beliefs they don't understand.
Right.
They,
And then-
they don't
yeah.
they don't get it, so that's easier for them to just say, no, I don't believe in that. That
Right.
seems like
The scarcity
yeah.
mindset we've talked
Yeah,
about.
but it's more than that. It's I don't that doesn't make sense to me. So I'm just gonna say that's bad.
Well, also I think too, with people that have a license, a medical license of any type, they worked hard to get that license,
Sure.
right? And so they probably spent a lot of time and energy and money in that. And they see someone like me that's doing what I do without a actual medical license. And again, I don't treat, I don't
Yeah.
diagnose, I stay in my lane, and I'm very, very vocal about that. I am not a doctor.
No,
I
you're
don't,
not-
it's
yeah.
like I
You started
say
off
it
the
all
podcast
the
by
time,
saying that,
right?
yeah.
Because I definitely believe in staying in my lane. But there are people out there with a license who don't feel like I should be allowed to help women the way I do, when oftentimes I'm the only person that has helped after going the traditional medical route over and over and over. And sometimes I think it's a pride thing, even, like I'm a doctor, and don't get me wrong, I know some amazing doctors.
Sure.
Like, I'm not poo-pooing the whole profession. I think there's some incredible people out there, but sometimes it's a like, well, how dare she, trespass on what I've been trained to do or whatever, or that just really and truly think that traditional medicine is the only way.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
That's
people
ignorant.
out there who
In my opinion, that's ignorant.
There's some flaws in modern medicine that need to be fixed.
Yeah,
you know?
I agree.
Yeah.
And so it's usually a combination of scarcity mindset, maybe of a little bit of a pride, or truly not believing in the work, right? Like, you know, or upset that I've been trained in how to analyze functional labs and I didn't have to spend $100,000 on a medical license to do it, right?
Yeah.
Like, so, you know, I think that there just is going to be people out there like that. And I have to admit, when some of these things happen, I was ruminating. I was like, what the heck is, like, why would she, like, I just don't understand, you know. And then one day I woke up and I thought, what am I doing? Why am I allowing someone to have power over me and to take up mental space? You know, I know that I'm really good at what I do. I know I've helped so many women. Why am I letting this person?
You can do what
get me
we do,
down?
which is lean into it and make fun of them.
Yeah.
We
You
do
could,
that.
you could, and I think
Yeah.
I think the best way to figure out who Becca is to go to her website, holisticobsession.com. But also, if you're on Facebook, go follow her Midlife Mayhem. Is it group? Is that
So
what it is?
yeah, it's a social group.
It's a social
local
group
social
here.
group. It's called Midlife Mayhem. I'm a big fan of the Mayhem, like, auto insurance commercials.
Oh.
Like the Mayhem, like, I don't know. I just feel like perimenopause is midlife mayhem, and so I wanted to develop a social group for midlife women to connect in person. Right? And where come as you are, come completely strung out, come whatever, and we're going to enjoy each other. And what I love about this is there's so many things that separate us these days, whether it's politics or religion or whatever, but perimenopause is a common enemy we can come together to fight against. And so this group is full of all walks of life. And we get together and we literally just have fun. There's been no drama. It's wonderful.
Oh my gosh, how did you achieve that?
It's called the Midlife Mayhem Mingle.
Oh,
So
Yes,
wow.
Midlife
Yeah.
Mayhem Mingle. Steve, you can go on over to Facebook and join the Grumpy Men's Club.
No, yeah,
There'll
you're
be
not
one of
allowed in
those.
our group.
Yeah,
so.
you're not in.
Becca, thank you for weathering our technical difficulties and my speech
Impediment.
here. But this is great. I've really learned a lot from you, and I thank you for your time today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Thank
it's a
you.
pleasure.
A little
Thank you,
fast.
Michelle, but that's okay.
That's okay. I'm super fast.
Yeah,
I am.
Becca
super
Kyle, man, she was awesome. Gosh, I feel like we could have talked another hour with her. She was so much information.
She wasn't. She no lie. She had ADHD. She
Yeah.
no lie.
Yeah, she stayed on task though. She stayed focused, and she definitely knows her stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, she didn't stumble through any of that.
No.
She knows what she's doing.
Well, did you know that Saturday is the 250th birthday of America? Do you know what it's called? Okay,
I
so
have no
in
idea.
1976 it was called the bicentennial.
Bicentennial.
So this is called the semi-quincentennial. I'm saying it.
Semi-quincentennial. So halfway through 500 years.
I guess
and then in 50 years, when I'll be 113, we'll be celebrating the tricentennial.
We will still be here doing the podcast.
It'll be episode 9,864, but we'll be here. I swear, we'll be
we will
here.
still be here. So do you remember where you were? Were you in Spain in
I
1976?
was in London.
London.
Yeah, we lived in London in 1976, and it was a big. Even in London, it was a big deal. I remember watching. Remember they had all the tall ships in the New York harbor, and they had the tugboats spraying water as the ships sailed in. I watched that on Thames Television in London in 1976.
I was in Lakeland, Florida, because my father was transferred there for just like a hot minute before my parents got divorced. And we had a huge carnival and block party, and I remember fireworks and everything else. But that was a long time ago.
It was.
Okay?
It was
So
50
years ago.
Oh,
But
by the way, that's what I was talking about. It was 50 years ago. Was the bicentennial? That's what we were talking about on the run this morning when we were doing our little intro here. That's
wait,
what it was.
wait,
yes,
I
it
forgot.
was the bicentennial.
Well, I found it interesting, the contrast between the 1976 birthday and the 2026 birthday
it's true.
celebrations. So apparently back in 1976, America celebrated. Here's just a couple of little things that we did back then. We celebrated with a giant patriotic train, and it was called the American Freedom Train, and it toured 48 continuous states for 21 months, carrying historical artifacts, documents, and art. Basically, it was
So
a
it
museum.
stopped along the
Yes.
way and people could go visit.
And it was a museum on wheels, right? So that's what there is. And then there was a full-on covered wagon pilgrimage. And they crossed the country and ended up in Valley Forge on that day on 1976, on July 4th, 1976. Do you know that 1976 was the year of the disco bell bottoms and
No
color
way.
TV?
I still had bell bottoms then, for sure.
Well, then they also, and you said about the tall ships in New York, they hosted a massive tall ship parade with over 6 million spectators and over 200 ships that came through the New York
And
harbor.
the harbor was full of people in sailboats and small boats.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
So this one I found very interesting. Even the Soviet Union showed up. During the Cold War, ships from around the world, including the Soviet Union, participated in Operation Sail. So America's 200th birthday had we don't trust you, but bring a boat energy. Yeah. They also produced the bicentennial quarter. Do you remember
I do remember that, yeah.
So that was, and now it's probably in everybody's junk drawer. This one I did not know. NASA tried to land on Mars for America's birthday and missed the date. I don't know, by however long,
Has
50
it been
years.
50 years
That
since
was-
they tried to land on Mars?
That was
Holy
Viking
cow.
1, which was
I
originally
remember
planned.
that, yeah.
So that's crazy. The site looked too rough. NASA delayed it. So they ended up landing successfully July 20th, 1976, which was the anniversary of the Apollo 11 moon landing. So that's really cool.
Wow.
Here's, I thought, would you probably pretty cool. The bicentennial time capsules were everywhere.
So I wonder if they're going to open those.
I would think so. But some of the things that were in these time capsules, a Fonzie T-shirt, a Donald Duck Pez dispenser, a Planet of the Apes costume.
Oh, yeah.
A Captain and Tennille record.
Oh, my God.
Isn't that funny? A letter from President Gerald Ford, which he
Wow.
probably tripped when he put it in there, but that was pretty good. Let's see. The mood wasn't all fireworks and hot dogs, they say, because right after America's 20th anniversary or birthday came after Vietnam, Watergate.
200th.
I'm sorry,
anniversary,
200th. Vietnam, Watergate, inflation, political distrust. Probably kind of a little bit like today. So
Yeah. You know what's fun? It's funny you said that because you were telling me you were going to do that story, and I looked up a couple things. A recent study showed that 36% of Democrats in this country are not proud to be American. Back in 2003, that number was 83%. And in 2003, 99% of Republicans were proud to be American. Now it's down to 92%. Still pretty high, but culturally, almost half the country now, a good percentage of it, aren't even proud to be American.
I don't understand why it matters what political affiliation you are, that
How can you
would
not
be proud of your
appreciate- yeah.
country.
Appreciate living in it's the greatest country on earth. There
It is.
are billions of people in other parts of the world that wish and dream that they could live the life that we've been blessed
Well, if anything showed us that was how do you say it? FIFA? Is that what you say?
FIFA, yeah.
FIFA. So in contrast to this 250th birthday, what's going on all around the world right now is also we're co-hosting the 2026
The
World
World
Cup.
Cup.
And Philadelphia events. Like Philadelphia apparently is on fire. They're on fire with the World Cup. They're on fire with the 250th birthday. It's kind of crazy. Flags, fireworks, confused Europeans.
Yeah.
And you're seeing we talked about this before about the Europeans talking about how wonderful it is and how they've been lied to. But back to our time capsules,
Yeah.
they are doing some time capsules also. I want to know, so one for the 250th, America 250 created a 900-pound stainless steel time capsule to be buried in Philadelphia on July 4th and opened
for the 250th. Okay.
and they say it's going to be open 2,276,
Oh,
and it's
wow.
supposed to sit.
I'll be really old then.
Yeah, right. Well, you'll be Yeah, it's supposed to sit 10 feet underground, and future Americans are either going to be deeply moved or say, "Why did we say this?" So, if you had to save something right now that was culturally, what would you say?
Oh boy, gosh, what's going to be important? I mean, obviously you got to have an iPhone in there.
Okay, I'm going to put a George Strait. Can you renew a record? I'm going to put something about George Strait in there,
Yeah.
Texas-wise. I'll put a Texas flag.
Can you fit a Tesla in there?
Can't fit it, but you can put a picture of Elon Musk. So maybe.
Well, yeah, that would be
Okay.
true. Tesla's changed the world, whether you like it or not.
What about food? If there was a piece, like culturally right now, food, what would we tacos?
Put
Okay.
a taco in there.
So we have tacos, music. What else?
How
what
about
was there
a
again?
Donald Trump bobblehead doll?
Yeah, we could put a Donald Trump red hat and then, but
Well, MAGA hat,
that'll piss some people
Well,
off.
I mean, it's appropriate for the times, whether you like it or not. I mean, the people that love him think about him, and the people that hate him think about him even more.
That's true. That's true. Well, if you look back and from 76 to now, 76 we were celebrating with wagons, and 2026 we're celebrating with AI. And I have to tell you,
I know.
if I see one more AI production
Of-
flyer,
Yeah,
they
I know.
all look the
The
same.
flyers, the videos. Somebody sent me a video this morning, like, "Hey, check this guy out, this artist." It was all AI.
They
It was
all
AI
look the
song,
same.
AI pictures, AI video. Yeah, it's gotten over the top. You know, you were mentioning the World Cup. Have you noticed that the merchants are not selling as much patriotic gear? They're selling a lot more World Cup stuff than they are selling patriotic gear.
Huh? Well,
Yeah, I mean, you go in the stores,
Yeah.
you don't see much. You know, back then in 1976, like every company did something, and
Yeah.
very few companies are even acknowledging it right now. The two things that I found were Mountain Dew, for a short period of time, changed their name to American Dew, which I think is pretty
Yeah.
cool. And then Coca-Cola released a limited edition of cans representing all 50 states. Cheerios had a birthday cake cereal. I mean, there's not that much going on. There's not that much patriotic stuff.
So what is going on? I know you have a story about what's going on in Washington right now. I know there's been a lot of talk about the reflection pool
Oh, God,
and things
yeah.
like that. But what are some of the things that they are doing?
There's the DC's Big Freedom 250 fireworks are expected around 10:30 to 11 on Saturday the 4th.
Ooh, I bet I wonder if they're drone fireworks this time.
Probably, yeah. They've been doing
They
that.
had the UFC fight, right? Okay.
Yeah, they did. The Great American State Fair is happening on the National
Yes.
Mall. A 16-day American State Fair.
I saw a comment about that on social media. I don't know who it was, MSNBC, CNN, something like
Yeah.
that. And they posted a picture of it, and they saw one guy in a walker, and it said, "Oh, Trump said that it's packed." And someone said that picture was probably taken at 7 in the morning. So they're doing anything to
Yeah.
poo-poo.
The the Amtrak Freedom 250
Oh.
train that already started. So I guess that's similar to what happened 50 years ago.
I saw that in Oregon. I think that was what we saw when we were in Oregon.
It's a commemorative Amtrak train, not the old school rolling museum version from 1976.
It was a big old steam train, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
DC has a whole DC 250 calendar going, a bunch of tourism stuff, year-long semi-centennial celebration, museum exhibits, cultural events, national mall programming.
It's going on all year too, right?
Yeah. And then the reflecting pool thing has been weird, hasn't it? Like
It really has
they
been
went
weird.
in and they redid the reflecting pool
And
so that
apparently
it looked cleaner, because apparently it looked like a giant cesspool.
Yeah, and apparently
before.
it's something to do with the filtration system, number one. And number two, apparently somebody put in a bunch of phosphates in there and like destroyed it.
Yeah.
And then apparently or allegedly somebody went in there with a box cutter or something and cut the bottom.
the new they put, it's not really a liner, it's more like a coating, but they cut that, so I guess that
So the
now
water now gets it.
leaked. But I've seen video, I know this is probably not super prevalent, but I've seen video of people standing there like clapping because the algae's growing.
I
It's
don't get that.
Why? What is in your head that makes you think I need to cheer on something terrible happening, something bad happening?
Because they're mental. People are mental.
It's ridiculous. But those same people are the ones that, if you ask them, "Are you proud to be an American?" would say no. They're not proud to be
That's
American.
even
And
sadder.
this country has changed the world for 250 years. Whether you like it or not, it's the greatest country on earth, and it will continue to be.
And you know what? You're not forced to be here. Get your ass out of here if you don't want. If you don't like it,
But
get
go
out of here.
Get out Saturday and celebrate, because it's the time.
Well, let me tell you, because your father and my father and both of my brothers
Yep.
and my son all serve this great country.
Yep.
And if you don't like our country, get the hell out.
Go somewhere
That's
else.
right.
Yep,
that's where I am.
Go to Canada.
And
Go to Canada.
Get it, a Canada. So, you know that song Yankee Doodle Dandy?
I do know it.
Yankee
I'm a Yankee
Doodle Dandy.
A
I'm
Yankee Doodle do or die.
Yankee
A real
Doodle.
life hero is something, 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 something.
Yankee Doodle
Born
went
on
to
the
town.
4th of July.
What is it? Yankee Doodle went to town riding
Oh,
on
I'm
a
singing.
pony.
Is it the same song? I think.
Yeah,
I'm
okay,
singing
so
wrong
the song has actually been changed like over and
Okay.
over again, but there's a story behind the song, which is actually kind of funny. I never realized it. It started out as an insult by the British soldiers. It was saying to mock American colonists as backward, sloppy country bumpkins. So they don't know really where the song originated from. They think it came from, started as a nickname, Little Jan, used by the Dutch. And I don't know how Little Jan turned into, I'm sorry, Yankee, how that turned into
Okay.
Yankee. But a doodle is a country hick. Okay, I don't know if you remember at the very beginning, it said I was a country hick. And a dandy is a conceited jerk.
Really?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. So,
But then all of a sudden people started singing it because they were proud of it.
well, what happened was when the British were, when they were retreating or something, I'm trying to remember the whole timeline of events. I need to go back and watch some of my history. That the Americans started singing it back to the British soldiers that were leaving. And so Yankee Doodle was not a compliment. It was more like calling someone an American dummy with a jaunty little tune. The macaroni line, stick a feather in his hat and call it macaroni. That's not macaroni. In the 1700s, macaroni referred to a flashy, over-the-top fashion trend among I cannot talk today.
We're both having a
Wealthy
problem with
young British men who traveled to Europe. And then the feather that they said, they stuck a feather in his hat, it was, and called it macaroni, it was meant that, or the Hicks were so unsophisticated that they thought they could just put a feather in their hat and call them high fashion. And then there was, like I told you, there was tons and tons of versions. Americans turned the insult back to the British. Once the colonists started winning battles, they sang Yankee Doodle proudly. It became, you tried to mock us, and now we're using your own song
They
against
leaned
you.
into their haters.
They leaned
That's
into
what
it.
we do.
Yes, but did you know, I did not know this, did you know it's actually a state song of
No.
Connecticut?
Really?
It's Connecticut's state song, yeah. And like I told you, nobody is for sure who wrote it. Tradition credits way back this British Army doctor named Richard Struckberg around
I wonder if you
1755.
could find it on YouTube
Maybe.
and play it for us.
But the song's origins are murky because folk songs tend to wander around history. And it might be one of America's earliest clapbacks, which I think is pretty funny. Like, we were just in our monologue, or not monologue, in our
were doing
opening, we
the
were doing
pointing.
the pointing that she's doing.
I love that, by
That's-
the way. I've seen it about a
Oh,
dozen
the
times. It
memes
makes
are
me
great,
giggle
and the
every time.
fact that other basketball
Basketball.
player got pissed off because
'Cause she
somebody's
was pointing at her?
and
Yeah, like,
I
come
saw
on.
an interview with her, and she was like, all I did was point at her, and I loved that she just gave her crap.
Yeah, I know. That was great. Well, I've got some good news, Michelle. You may not know this.
What's that, Mallett?
Today is Social Media Day.
Oh, joy! I love social media.
It's a day to celebrate all the horrors that social media
Horrors
has brought upon
or
us.
whores?
Yeah,
'Cause we've already been
All
called.
the horrors, all the hoes in Dripping Springs are celebrating Social Media Day. It's a day to talk about, or it was actually started in 2010 by Mashable, and it's a day to, back then it was a day to celebrate social media. But now it's kind of turned into a day to go, make fun of social media, talking about what you were talking about. Last year, 5.4 billion people use social media in the world.
Oh,
That's
my.
like 2/3 of the world population.
I'm looking, Steve. I have my personal social media page. I have Corner Crazy. I have Mallett Integrity Team. I have Mallett and Michelle. I have Best of Drip.
Oh, I know.
I have Dripping Springs Elite. I I'm one of the managers of Coke, and I have Run by the Creek, and there's probably a couple other ones that I have.
Oh, I know. So that's not just you're working when you do those things. This is people that get on there probably just to surf
just
the
you mean
internet
just
type
to sit
thing.
there
Just to
and surf?
sit there.
Okay.
And the average person spends 141 minutes per day, over 2 hours on social media. That's crazy, isn't it?
That is crazy.
Yeah. So this holiday, Social Media Day that Mashable created was originally meant to recognize the social media impact on bringing the world together. Since then, it's changed.
Yeah.
But
The book of face.
back then, think about these companies have gone extinct. MySpace, Friendster,
Oh.
Vine, they're all gone.
My kids loved Vine
It's
when they were
gone.
younger.
Yeah, those
that
are
was like
gone.
at the original TikTok.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you how much you already said how much you spend on social media,
Well,
but I have some things.
I do, but I don't like exclusively. I can watch a movie and still be on social media too.
Yeah, I know. But are you really watching the movie?
Am
though?
I really on social media?
Yeah, that's true. All right. Well, I found some things that you could do if you don't want to spend 141 minutes a day on social media. Here's some other options you have. You could read the entire Cheesecake Factory menu.
Have you read there?
I have. I know the menu's like
It's like-
27
yeah,
pages.
it's
it
forever.
would take
Yeah.
you 2.5 hours to figure out what offsides means in soccer. Does anybody really know? I do know.
Don't really even
But
know
it's
what it means.
pretty complicated.
I-
That first guy can't be past the last defender when the ball is kicked from the. Anyway.
Okay.
All right. Clean the part of the house that you never get to. So
Yeah.
pretty much all of
Okay.
the house. Listen to an entitled white lady give her Starbucks order.
Kindle.
I'll have a decaf mocha frappe with oat milk and a half calf of the.
That's Kindle. She'll call me while she's in line at Starbucks, and then I swear to you, she'll go, "No, I don't want that. Wait, change it all.
Oh,
Can I change?" I'm
God.
like,
Oh,
Kindle.
geez.
And then they'll say, "That'll be $9.
Yeah.
$9.
Here you go. This is a good one and appropriate for the holiday coming up. Stock up on everything you need for the 4th of July. Alcohol, fireworks, more alcohol, and a first aid kit.
Well, apparently I'm having hot dogs and beans there.
Oh, that's right. All right, and here's the final one. Have sex. And
Oh.
spend the remaining 140 minutes watching TV.
Wait, is it 141 minutes?
141 minutes. You get a minute of sex and
You're
that's
doing
it. And then
yourself-
you go watch Survivor.
Okay, I have to say that one of the funniest things you said when we were interviewing Becca Kyle, and you said all men want, and you went through down a list, and I wrote it down, and you said, "Touch my wiener." And
I said, make me a sandwich, tell me I'm hot, and touch my wiener occasionally. Men, if you're out there, give me a shout out, please. Tell me. That's exactly it, isn't it? Do we need anything else?
It
no,
is.
that's not. We're so simple. We are simple creatures.
Bless. Just don't do that in public, people, when you come up to Steve
So-
Mallett, for sure. Hey, really quick, I'm going to use your word. The shout out. The
I'm
shout out.
sorry, I keep saying it. I know.
No.
I'm living back in 1976.
That's okay. I'm going to give him a double shout out.
Okay.
Martin Garza.
Yeah.
We've had him on as a guest early on. Thank you for trusting us, Martin. And he's the quintessential, right, volunteer in
Oh,
Dripping
he is.
Springs.
He shows up at everything.
Speaking of social media, to tie that in, on his social media, he said, "Hey, I was listening to Mallett and Michelle on Dripping Springs, and I was listening to Pam King's, and she said the one thing I need to do if I was a visitor here is to go eat at the Texas Olive Company." And he gave a shout out to Texas
I
Olive,
did
Pam
see
King,
that.
and
That's
ourselves.
cool. Yeah.
So, thank you,
Martin. That's very nice
Thank
of
you
you
for
to
being such
appreciate
a loyal listener.
to listen and to give us a shout out and give Pam King a shout out. That's a really good episode. That's a must listen.
That's
to.
right. So that was
We
we
got a
appreciate
lot of
that.
those. Got a lot of must listen tos. There's a bunch of cool people in this town.
We love the lovers, and we even love the haters. And
Actually, on some level, we like the haters more.
God bless America.
Happy 4th of July, 250th birthday, America.
Yes.
All right, we'll talk to you next week. Thanks, everybody. Out.
Look at that. If you guys only knew what our day has been like today.
It's been a booger.
It has been a booger.
It's been a booger.
It's been a booger.
Gosh, for the 3 of you that are still hanging in there, thank you very much.
Thank you. Y'all take care. That was fun.
That was fun.
We needed that.
We did.
I'm gonna get you a shirt that says "Touch My Wiener." I wrote that down on my page. I was like, I about freaking
You know
died.
it's true.